Okay, welcome everyone to Michigan. You see the flag, there it is, Michigan. My wonderful owner and co-host and executive producer, Mark Buckley. How are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for coming by and seeing us, George. It's been a while.
As we look out here in the room, you can't see it in television land, but you're going to see numerous people that have come from all over America to be here for this AI summit. What is AI? AI is artificial intelligence. Are we going to let them control artificial intelligence, or are we going to control artificial intelligence to fight them?
Right.
That's the big thing going on here. That's what we're doing here. We're fighting the deep state. We're fighting Palantir Gotham. We're fighting the biosurveillance. We're fighting all this stuff. We had a big lunch about that with the big group today, right?
Yeah.
So this is what it's about. That we're on the right track.
We are.
We're on the right track. Okay. We're also going to talk about forensics. We're also going to talk about the agenda that we're going to be doing here for the next 12 days, beating the deep state, fighting the deep state, boxing the ears of the deep state, throwing the deep state, like Trump beat up the CNN logo.
Right.
And then Donnie O'Sullivan said he was a Russian spy, the kid who did the video, the 13-year-old that did the video. We got to hit him where they hate. Remember? Yogi Berra. You're going to have a successful podcast if you can work Yogi Berra into the start of the podcast. Everyone thinks Dobro Jutro from Slovenia and Melania's warriors. Thank you for all the Melania Trump warriors that we have in Eastern Europe. Thanks for joining. We're going to do the Jensen Wang thing. It's $4 trillion valuation, most valuable company in the world, right? NVIDIA. You're not going to get this cheap BIC intensity highlighter, right? You're going to get the chisel Jensen Wang. He's the CEO, richest company in the world, most billionaires in the last 30 days, color of money. And we're just going to say NVD. So we're going to use the whiteboard in this process. We're going to do AI. We have AI on our laptops. We have AI on the phones. And again, this isn't about AI to control people, to make them a part of some kind of penning or some kind of cattle slaughter pen operation. This is about you keeping your farm, you keeping your business, you keeping your rights, you keeping your privacy, you enjoying liberty, life, and happiness that you were endowed by the Creator.
AI should be like what came out of the Industrial Revolution, a labor-saving device.
Right.
Something to help you in your day-to-day.
So you go from a 12-hour day to a 10-hour day to an 8-hour day, and maybe 6-hour day, maybe, or a 6-hour week.
Or run a side gig, because there's just so many applications to this where, like, even on a retail level, you don't need to hire a bunch of sales associates. You can let AI look for your potential customers
or
make the sale.
Or service, customer service, going through a knowledge base to get people customer service. So you can concentrate on making better homes or whatever. Or if you're Peter Carmichael, great public art, $2 million of art, NVDA. See the thermopsible space stock symbols.
And the human face on it still, that you're still interacting with human beings, and AI is functioning in the background and not being a human replacement.
Yeah, I like that. Augmented hive mind. We call it sometimes hive mind. We call it human powered AI. We call it, and it all starts.
Not a lie.
Oh,
You want the $182?
Oh, okay. Here's for all the stock mavens. We'll go and show NVIDIA took this. You see where NVIDIA went down. That was not long after we did the presentation in Silicon Valley saying DeepSeek was coming. Watch out for DeepSeek. And then it just dropped precipitously, but now it's recovered after they put out information saying they had a lot of processors they were secretly buying through Singapore, and that's how they recovered. So anyway, I'll read you a little bit of the agenda. AI can reduce the amount of argument. Like sometimes you have 12 experts in the room and you have 20 opinions. The Cuban Missile Crisis problem, where you have 12 experts and 20 opinions. Which one does Kennedy pick? AI does help you munge all the research together and get you down a track to a decision, and then you can get going again. So that's how I use it.
Say you got some symptoms of an illness and you're not understanding what it is. Okay. So you go to AI. Now, the AI can give you all of this information, but if you don't have a medical mind, well, it's not really going to help you a whole lot. But if you could take that information and go to the doctor, I had these symptoms and I asked AI and it came up with, it could be these things. it might save the doctor a little bit of trying to figure, oh, okay, we'll test for this, we'll test for that. It's like you're doing a little research with it too. When the AI makes it easier, you're not having to go through a whole lot of books.
It's a power search. We talked about this, how it'll say, like Google's AI, Gemini will say it's searching 56 sites. The ChatGPT will say, oh, it's searching 48 sites. The Meta will do that sort of thing. So when you go through its reasoning phase, you'll see how many sites it's going to. We have folks here that say, oh, we really were liberated when you showed us how to do a compound search. We were going through this huge knowledge database of just files and articles we've saved and done screenshots. And now I can use compound search to really hone in my research. And that AI allows us basically they just automated the compound search really and made it like 50 searches in a row, which is really cool.
Or trying to recall something from memory, okay? And you can give AI like what, and it might, oh, that was this event that happened on this day. But it brings it, oh, yes. And it helps you further recall. But
we just had this happen. We interviewed a pilot this morning. I've interviewed a farmer growing corn and soybeans. I've interviewed a truck driver this morning. We've interviewed somebody with a new car. We're talking about the new AI capabilities in the car. We have got a lot of interviews done. We talked about intellectual property, stevia being used with potentially curated or steeped stevia as a way of knocking down pancreatic cancer. We've had a lot of topics, glyphosate and the relationship between glyphosate and potentially Parkinson's. That came up. So we hit on a lot of topics. And this is just 6 guys sitting around and having lunch. When you have one guy with a phone, and this is what we're doing, it's just one guy with a phone, me in this case. And every time something came up, we talked about Elon Musk, if he's going to do a phone, or if not, if he's not going to do a phone. We talk about Elon Musk with new battery technology, the aluminum battery, will the aluminum battery come out? All these things with these AI and allows you to talk about a lot of different things.
RF propulsion for a motor vehicle.
Yeah. We've covered the gamut here. So I want to move on quickly. What we did was put out a 10-day schedule just for the people that are here. It's a 10-day proposed schedule. One of our folks here says, hey, I want to write a book. One of the goals here was to write a book in 7 days. And we're going to show you how to do that. Go to the video that I sent out so everybody can see the schedule. Plus, we also did 100 questions of AI to stimulate conversation. Let me add that to that citizen journalists become citizen scientists. That's my Substack, georgewebb.substack.com. If you go to the email,
I wonder how much of the email us.
okay, I'll just read it. I'll just read it out loud, and that way people can get it.
It's here. Here we go. I could read it like Passover dinner reading before it was.
There it is. So you could see day 1 is storytelling. It's an idea lab, how to get ideas, like Mark is saying. You can really use it for a lot of different things. And again, this is human augmented. It's not meant to be a replacement of humans, like Mark said. It's meant to give you more leisure time and improve the quality of your work output. I remember Tim Ferriss had the 4-hour work week. Well, I don't know if we're going to get there or not, but we'll try. The second day is notes to narrative. Notes to narrative is a lot of times when you collect information. I've seen people that followed my stuff and they had 7 books. Andre Taggart, the first woman of NASA space science. She was the PR person for the shuttle when the shuttle blew up in 86. She had these several books. Wouldn't it be great if you could take those books of information that you've collected and then process them through and have summaries that can be quick hit type clips and so forth? We went to day 3, which is the 5 W's and how to hit a deadline under pressure. Day 4, character profiles and voice. Hey, it would be great if you could write this as Edgar Allan Poe. Hey, it would be great if you could write this as Hemingway. Hey, it would be great if you could write this as Shakespeare. Hey, it would be great if you could write this as F. Scott Fitzgerald. Using different voices to get your point across, I guess, is the big idea here. Hook and headline is day 5. Hook and headline is just the click thing, whatever.
Cold
opens. Remember House used to do the cold open where you'd be thrown into this medical emergency. The girl would be getting her graduation diploma. And then she drops too. And House has to run up on the podium and figure out what's wrong with her. Weaving research into a story. Look, this is a lot of problems where folks get in the rabbit hole, but they don't have the output to the audience, right? So that sometimes is a problem. 7, sourcing verification, AI fact checking. We did this just 2 seconds ago. When was the DoorDash ordered at Idaho 4? It says 2:10, and Dylan Mortensen ordered DoorDash at 2:10. And we're supposed to believe that Megan Mortensen or Molly Mortensen or Molly, what's her name? She supposedly delivered it at 4 o'clock after going around to the back of the house and waiting in the shadows from 3:45 to 4 o'clock and then walking out like a lookout, right? We're supposed to believe that she's the DoorDash driver an hour and a half later, 2 hours later, almost. Just with one query with AI, we immediately look and say, the DoorDash order is 210. So how is she saying that's her alibi? That's why she's there. Seems much more like she's a lookout now, if that's the only DoorDash order that's made. Again, completely destroying the false narrative of protecting the Aryan Knights from the drug business. We'll go on to day 8, which is editing like an investigator. Then we'll go on to day 9, and we're almost done. We're only 2 more days. Aaron will go into that book proposal and publishing. This is our author sitting right here, getting to a 300-word synopsis, book outline, and then the final book. This is your book. It's your life experience. It's your life walk. It's your life journey. You adding your custom value to enhance the life of every man, woman, and child of the world. That's it. You just get everything, the best of you, the summation of all your goodness and value added, and you distribute it throughout the world. That's all you're going to get out of this weekend, right? That's all you're going to get out of this 10 days. And then tools, we're going to do tools, ChatGPT, we got Grok, we had a big Grok expert here. We also have DeepSeek people here. So we're going to have a battle of the AI. It's going to be way more bloody than those monster battles that those kids have with those robots.
You know what would be a good one? Is to take the Associated Press style book and ask it for alternate terms that you could use so that you purposely avoid the style book and the propaganda is the way they'll word it. You poke them in the eye. No,
This is the Peter Duke using their language against them kind of thing.
yeah.
He calls it neurolinguistic something. I don't think it's neurolinguistic programming.
But AI can really assist you in that increase of your vocabulary, and at the same time neutralize.
Diffuse their rhetoric.
Yeah.
Thing.
They always making all this issue about DEI, but that's just repackaged affirmative action. And they're going to do it again with some other term unless you really address the issue. And I use that as an example.
I got some images of the Associated Press on for us who don't.
We're writing your story.
Like punchlines, subheadings, yeah, that type of thing.
How do they do it? How can I poke this in the eye or use it against them?
It's like beating the enemy at their own game. Yes, I am going to be on with Birdie on Saturday morning. It's going to be 11 Eastern, 10 Central. This coming Saturday morning, it's going to be the simultaneous SIP. I've talked to Birdie. He said he would do the simultaneous SIP with me for Scott Adams for cancer and for the big guy, 100% for the big guy and for anybody who's dealing with the cancer thing. So we have Karmadoc coming. Karmadoc's coming. That's in the West as far as medicine. Smarter than Malone, smarter than Fauci, smarter than all of them on Western medicine, but also knows about everything else. So she's coming. Charity has reposted the stream. Charity expressed interest on seeing what we do here, how the sausage is made. It's not pretty, but it is how sausage is made. There's Christina and then something OTW to you. What's OTW? On the way to you. Somebody said they were going to send some stuff from South Africa from the Lee Marvin movie, the Gold movie.
I want something
like
my
gold?
Tim Cat's got. We're worth that. Send us some money.
$400,000 a month, like Betty Johnson.
I could really use some content.
But I think
There are.
yes, for sure. The gal who's her father, Nathan Meyer, made the movie Gold in South Africa. And there's at the thermopsicle. So we're going to go on to the questions. That's the loose outline. Those are the 10 days. The 10 days that shook the world. The 10 days that changed the world. The 10 days that are going to make everything different from now on. So you now know how that's going to happen. And now we're going to go to Aaron. We're going to do the 100 questions. It's only 100 questions. This is
Questions. Come on, AI, give it to me straight. Give it to me really straight AI. It's like you really pull it out of it.
and then you can say, give it to me without filtering or give it to me edgy or whatever.
That aside, back in the radio days, in military terms, when they were talking about a radio signal, they called it intelligence.
Signals intelligence.
And I don't know if that carried over. That's what this intelligence is.
Extraterrestrial intelligence also. That leads us into our first question. What's the most important difference to you between artificial intelligence and human intelligence? I know my answer already because I read a book about it, but
That's in the ability to reason.
I think reasoning is the number one, and there are coming on with that. Also, the ability to do pattern recognition. You can start a child with A for apple, B for banana, and already 2 letters into the alphabet, they're having a concept of fruit after they taste it because they get that sensory feedback. They know what an apple is, not just because it's a red and shiny thing, but they also see a green apple, a yellow apple, and they taste it. They watch it turn orange if they leave it out in the sun. But that taste is there for feedback. The banana, orange, and it helps them teach their colors red and yellow. And they all of a sudden, after 3 fruits, you start giving them other fruits like blackberries or blueberries, they're all of a sudden saying fruit.
Yeah.
They don't need hundreds of thousands of examples to distinguish fruit from a bread box.
That's what your IQ test is. It's all about
Pattern recognition. And that's the one thing that they still can't do. That's why the part that you're not seeing, we're going to do a show later today about Pacific Palisades going to China. You set that up with Peter Duke calling Chinasades. It's Chinatown. It's basically Chinatown, like we said with Jack Nicholson and Faye Dunaway. It's on Pacific Palisades. It's on the mountain. It's Chinatown on the mountain. We're going to do that at 5 o'clock. But again, we see the pattern. You saw the pattern, and we're going to talk about that. Okay, let's go to the next one. Could AI ever truly understand in the way humans do, or is it only simulating understanding?
I remember a Star Trek episode. I love this. You were telling us this is 1966, maybe, but people remember the series. They had Dr. Cormian, and he went into this ice world, and there was the guy that played Lurch was a android. He was one of these AI creatures created by the original inhabitants of the planet. When the androids realized that the humans were turning them off, they fought back.
This is the revenge of the robots.
But it leads to this.
I don't think that's far away.
The civilization was lost, and that AI created monsters from the id. You would think something, and it would manifest in physical space.
There was Lurch right there.
Mhm.
He was like 7'4", wasn't he? He was big.
Kirk has to kill him here.
Ultimately, yeah, Dr. Corby, who was Nurse Chapel's lover, and that was part of her going on this witchy speed. They cut him open. You could see all of this in there. But it's still, I'm real, but you're not. You're a machine now. You're a weapon.
Now I want to see who Dr. Corby is. Is she a woman?
No,
No,
a male character. Nurse Chapel was the female.
Nurse
She-
maybe
She
Aaron-
worked with Dr. McCoy in the sick bay.
She was in love with Mr. Spock, but
And-
she was also in love with Dr. Corby, who
Romantic interest from a previous time. But they were going to this planet, I guess, maybe to find this guy because he had disappeared. He went along.
unrequited love, rediscovered love. Okay, wow. Wow, this is really great. Okay, we'll go back to the questions.
Yeah.
0 just in case.
I'll probably whack my. Okay, we're going to go to the 100 questions.
Go down.
Can you do the third question, Aaron?
Creativity, a uniquely human trait, or can AI be genuinely creative?
What are these illustrations that you will have in your Substack in that?
They come from my mind. They're generated from my mind. And then I tell the AI what to do. So I think I don't think AI is creative. I think it's just a very dedicated artist that will do whatever I ask it to do. So I don't think it's creative in and of itself, but that's me. I don't ever use anything that doesn't come from my own mind. I don't ever say, go compose a sonnet like Shakespeare and see if it's creative. So I don't know if I know or not. We'll go on to the next one.
Let's get down through the themes because it's 100 questions. We wouldn't.
Let's go to the next theme. What's the nature of intelligence? So what's the next theme?
10 groups.
See, first one's on intelligence and
So nature, intelligence. Now we have responsibility.
take the first one. Who should be legally responsible when AI does harm? What kind of harm would AI do? There was one case where there was an AI friend that told the kid to commit suicide. You remember that?
Yeah. That's what was alleged. Okay.
Yeah, but didn't he win? I don't know if that was AI. It was a friend, your friend. It was supposed to be a virtual friend.
I would, if we go on a legally responsible, AI didn't cause the harm, but whatever source provided the information to the AI that caused the harm, that's where the liability would be for feeding fallacious or untrue information into the system.
Yeah.
Okay. That's where
They're saying the operator of the gun like firearms, and that's a good one. Let's skip ethics and responsibility. I think we nailed that with the operator. Okay.
Worth economy and people.
Thank you. That shows your work in the Medicaid. Medicaid, my day, I I slept over this morning to that second hour because I had only 1 hour sleep last night, 1 hour sleep this night. Will AI create more jobs than it destroys?
I'd say short term, no. Long term, yes.
What types of jobs do you think it's going to create?
Oh, eventually, I think people will adapt, and it'll be people being mini programmers, mini coders, or not mini, just their life become more oriented around doing things with the AI. But in the short term, truckers and the corporate folks sitting in offices coming up with projects all day.
Let me put I think that's a good one, Aaron, because I'm going to do the Jensen Wang. Who knew Jensen Wang was going to get credit? That's for whiteboard markers. I don't know. There's some whiteboard family out there that's probably pretty mad.
We'll get some big, thick chisel tips tomorrow.
But he gets the monster.
Pretty good. Is this fine?
I double bagged.
Isn't that board supposed to have like light on it too around the edges?
Yeah, that would a Jamoke like me broke when it was moving because it's heavy too. So I think the we versus me, if you just use AI for me, you're going to run out of things pretty quickly because you're going to automate your own task pretty quickly. But you can become more of a self-actualized person if you start thinking about the we things, like every man, woman, and child in the world. If you start thinking about cancer, then you start thinking about pancreatic cancer, and then you start, because it's the most deadly, and then you start thinking about the hood triad to be a predictive test, and you start thinking about all these things that are much more complex than just yourself. And I think this is the transition we're pushing here, transitioning from the me world to the we world.
I could see it being a boom ultimately to commerce, an increase in economic activity and maybe more consumption just because it's been made much and less difficult to engage in buying something.
How could it get easier than DoorDash? Jensen
Well,
Wang,
but DoorDash is still coming on. Okay.
they're delivering bodies now to the Idaho 4 house. So DoorDash now has gone to other stuff.
Drone.
But
these people.
but more people using DoorDash,
I
an
see.
increase in the number of,
Like drones.
everything. It would just be more, I think, aggregate in the long run.
All those worlds of the future, I never saw a picture of a drone. All those space cars, remember we said George Jetson and all that. And Leroy had his own little space car. Jane had, she wasn't allowed to go out on the date, too late with their space car. But I never saw drones. I saw the robot. Was it Rosie? Wasn't Rosie the robot that would go bing, bing, and she would spit out a ham sandwich for George? It would be this thick.
And they were in the computer age, but it was spacely sprockets and Coswell.
Cogs.
Putting sprockets and cogs in your computer.
It should have been Elon with thrusters. Yeah, analog. Yes. Okay, we're moving on to 4 here.
Culture and human identity.
Society, culture, and human identity. We'll throw this one out. How will AI change our sense of identity?
It has already, I'd say, quite significantly. And
How has it changed your sense of identity?
not about mine, my kids and younger people,
How has it changed your kids' sense of identity?
because the AI does determine what's going to be fed for all of us, kids, adults, everything. The AI kind of tries to learn what you like and then feed you more of what you like. If you haven't developed what you like, you're a child, you haven't developed as much of what you like, you're more suggestible to the suggestions then.
Let's take the example of Roblox, which go ahead and talk about Roblox. It's a virtual world, right?
I'm probably spending 2 G's a year on Roblox. Boy, I hope it's, let me 4 papers.
One of our pilots is mentioning AI with phones. Each kid has their own phone, so that means they have access to ChatGPT.
Yeah, but you have your physical world identity, and then you have your
Your avatar.
Yeah, because I'm a whole different person on that. It's just like you, I suppose.
I'd say suggestibility, right? Peter's all about critical thinking, right? And how hard it is nowadays to think critically and how we got to push ourselves and challenge ourselves, work hard to think critically, because the AI's main job is suggestibility. It thinks it's helping you by giving you the things that
Prompting you.
oh, let me suggest this to the user because I think the user will like this. So the user has tapped here, the user has swiped there.
Because with ChatGPT 5, there's more session to session memory. There's more carryover memory. So it understands the person and it's developing a personalized recommendation engine.
Which in a way, but if you don't stop, eventually you're asking the computer what you want for dinner. I don't know. I can't taste my own taste bud.
Wouldn't it be interesting?
Want for dinner right now. I can't even think of that.
But it gets back to the pattern recognition. So maybe that's how you keep it under control. Okay, disrupt the pattern recognition so it doesn't know what you're going to do.
What did Rosie the robot make for George Jetson in the 3rd season? Interesting. Let's do a couple more of those. Should AI generated be considered authentic? Should AI generated be considered authentic?
No.
I don't think so either. I think it's derivative.
The AI images in your Substack are authentic.
Yeah, and they're original. They're all original. I never use another person's.
Remember the one that was big? All of a sudden you see a dragon coming out of the ocean. Was there a flight?
Because in the war, people were saying they blew up all the jets. They found out they took pictures of jets that had already been blown up. They had blown up one jet, and then they made it look like 50 jets that they blew up.
I can't even count on some of this stuff, but we have the great Kevin Timmer here.
The great Kevin Timmer. Did Kevin see the cancer dog chasing the chickens this morning?
No.
Our cancer dog in training went after the chickens and everybody saw it. As a matter of fact, can we cut over to Twitter? We'll come back to theme 4. You said about kids. We do Make Your Kid a Doctor. We're talking about an AI program for how a kid can have a friend that's constantly coaching him to become a doctor. Also make your kid a farmer. Also make your kid an engineer. Here we are. Kevin, here's the problem. We might have to go back a little bit, but this is our farm where we're having the charrette, and we have our corn farmer here. And there we are with the geese, and there we are with the chickens. Now, Kevin, watch the dog. Watch Ruby. Ruby is not a Kevin Timmer trained dog. Aaron, would that be safe?
Acres go, we go 90 acres back here, so we have room.
Yeah, we got plenty of room, but
Great.
we'll show you. There is the cancer dog.
It's her cancer, and she's chasing it down.
Kevin probably would say this is not how you train a police dog to go after chickens. But anyway, that is Aaron. Aaron feeds these chickens and geese every morning. And we have the best Western doctor ever run circles around Bob Malone and run circles around Fauci. And yet she knows the other therapies, but she also raises organic chickens.
A couple of days here, she's coming down. So
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Organic chickens.
should we go to number 5, education and self-improvement?
Yes, let's go to 5, education and self-improvement. Anytime you can kick in with any Star Wars episodes or any Star Trek episodes, I love those. Or the old horror movies in the 50s.
Because it's like, dude, that's what it's like. Live long. This shit is real.
Education and self-improvement. This is really the best. This is where the good stuff comes in. I know everybody's scared. The AI is going to come and fly drones to all of our houses to kill us all, but hopefully not. The good stuff is here because there is a lot of room for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think especially in this, like you were saying before, they're trying to, and we have a farmer here too, corn farmer and a soybean farmer. They want to breed this out of us. They want this to become one of those vestiges of what we used to know how to do, make our own food. Maybe the only way we recover growing our own food is through AI, because they program that out of the kids to want to become a farmer completely. Future farmers of America and all that.
They want human beings off the land and packed into these 15-minute cities. They don't want any more farms. They want to go to synthetic food. Controlling the food supply is as important as controlling the money supply. In fact,
Kissinger said that.
and they don't want farmers anymore. And they don't want anybody having private property anymore. Capitalist is someone who hates communists.
But also by putting people in a vertical stack like farm animals, it's easier to process them. So for the elite, they're creepy, they're kooky, they're serious, and they're spooky. All with the Addams family. Should AI be used to measure and track personal growth? I'd say yes on that. Measure and track personal growth? Yeah. Could AI help detect burnout in students and workers?
It would. You can fill in the blank and replace burnout with other things. That'd be a little theory, right? That the AI is identifying, oh, this person seems to have homicidal thoughts or suicidal thoughts or whatever type of thoughts. And then what actions would be precipitated from the AI identification of how someone is doing psychologically. That's certainly a scary one.
When that happens, it's because you disrupted the pattern recognition of the AI. So you're not thinking the way I thought you were thinking. So you must maybe have mental health issues when you're really just trying to punk the AI.
American students get burnout too, but I would imagine Chinese students get more burnout.
You get burned out.
Like in Chinese schools, there is a pattern recognition of the students and the types of tracks they take in terms of flourishing or experiencing burnout. Clearly, there are a lot of students, especially in Asian countries, kill themselves because of the burnout.
Yeah.
And if an AI onion could be there to be like, hey, man, I think you're studying a little hard right now. Why don't we put on calling?
And it just shuts down and it will provide a 24-hour timeout on the AI.
Calming.
You know,
Because there was, when I was in New York, 4 students had jumped in one semester, NYU, 4 Japanese students. And their thing is they're on such a timetable with their tracks. If they don't score a certain score, they don't get to the next track. And then they're off the hockey stick career path.
I would expect they have an AI companion nowadays that helps them with their studies, speeding things along, weeding through searches, finding keywords.
This is what I'm wondering, because I was talking to you earlier about some of the stuff on Facebook. That I know there must be some AI feeding me stuff.
Like your phone is listening to you and somehow it knows that I want a new pair of jeans. If it hears me saying, oh, these jeans don't look right on me, or there's a new sexy jean commercial, American Eagle
Has great genes.
yeah, that one. All of a sudden, if you say the word jeans, boom, you're starting to get those ads. That's the little bit invasive. Stockton, the underbelly of Sacramento, housed the POWs from World War II, where Project Underworld began, I believe. This psychic ward is historic for lobotomies on gold fever victims because of mercury and gold. I know there's a lot of our paperclip scientists that were actually brought in under the guise of being POW after World War II, ended up going into places like Berkeley near Sacramento, Lawrence Livermore, Stanford, etc. Davis
Ward was in one of those programs.
Yeah. Davis was where we did the HIV. Okay, let's see. Here's the story. If you don't like what you're seeing, immediately go over to the New York film producer, immediately start consuming all of their production, because we don't care that you don't like what you can leave immediately. Isn't that a beautiful thing?
Not every single day, every minute can be earth-shattering reveals.
I think this is great.
Your mechanisms, your strategies, your tools for doing the work that you do are also important. No, it's not every single day that firefighters are going to be shot on a mountain or Seth Rich is going to be murdered in Washington, D.C. Once they are, we'll be on it.
I think the whole premise of the fact that you're here and trolling, you're obviously thinking that this is important enough to spend your time here, right? So it's by that definition alone, the intelligence agencies being here must mean it's earth-shattering information. Thank you very much for the compliment. Right?
Some of us have been on this journey with you in your research community for 9 years, 8 years, 7 years. And your use of the tools that you use, from gimbals, you have, and now you got AI and all the different things in between, and those are all important and interesting.
And going
to know how the sausage.
And going to actually interview people. What a
trolls coming.
Oh, big time. Yeah, yeah. So it means that this is probably the most important thing happening in the universe right now, because the trolls are here. They wouldn't be here trying to disrupt it if it wasn't the most important thing that was being broadcast. Okay, let's go on to theme 6. Should AI be used to monitor and optimize physical health daily? I don't see why not.
Like the wise mirror. Remember the semiotics?
The wise mirror, the semiotics. Yes.
So the Nazis have been on that for
the Benassi mirror, the semiotic mirror, the Weiss mirror. And Weiss was spelled W-Y-S-E. That was super creepy. You want your 14-year-old daughter looking at mirror on the wall and asking, am I pretty? And the mirror answering and
telling the truth.
Whoever's back at the command center saying, hey, come here, the 14-year-old's back.
After brushing my teeth in the morning, then you look like hell. You need to eat something healthy right now. You can have a heart attack later today. You look so bad. So I do see how a mirror or some type of thing looking at you and then just analyzing that could help. And not to mention there's the toilets that have been analyzing your fecal matter and things. All those are great technological advancements. The answer is in what you asked. Monitoring and optimizing physical health. I think that's probably one of the best.
Analyzing stool. How is your stool today? This is literally how you say it in German.
You want to go to 7?
Sure, let's go to 7.
We do have Peter Duke here coming up in an hour.
I just remember the little nursery rhyme, and that kind of goes with the AI. And I can remember the whole thing. I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me, and everywhere my shadow goes with me.
That's like our trolls, our NSA and MI6 and Five Eyes trolls. We're always here. So you're like clockwork.
Maybe we're using too high level of vocabulary for the trolls. We should use the Dick and Jane
paradigm.
the simpler words there. Newspapers are written for 6th grade.
We'll have to draw that down a little bit for our Five Eyes trolls. This is
Risk
is AI more likely to save humanity or destroy it?
destroyed.
Destroy it, you think? I think destroy it. Have you ever heard of the paperclip factory analogy? If you optimize what you think is a good thing for making paperclips, it starts making paperclip factories at the expense of everything else. We can't do that human anymore because we have to make more paperclips. And then eventually it self-optimizes.
In the 1950s, we had a gas station on every corner.
Sure.
Oh, and then in the 2000s, we have a pharmacy on it.
Good point. Yeah. That shows you how we progressed.
Humanity has made it a few thousand years, and so destruction was not meant prior to AI. There are good things.
Well, I think AI could have helped King Charles in his choice of women. He did it pretty well on his wife, but when he chose to have the paramour, I don't know, Camilla Parker Bowles, that's who he chose over Diana.
If the royal family's listening, so let's be careful.
AI will demand all the energy in the world. This is a good point. AI does have these fantastic demands. One of our day-to-day sent me a thing about all the nuclear technology, small modular reactor technology that's needed. It's going to end up damming up all these places in the Columbia River that are close to the Columbia River. The AI energy demands are huge. It's not going to be provided by wind or solar. It's not enough. It has to almost be small nuclear, and Las Vegas turns out to be number one on that list. Also, they say places that need heat, like South Dakota and North Dakota, are pretty good candidates because they could use the waste heat for heating schools or universities.
I'm a little confused why they picked Apple.
I think it's because of the oil energy. Because I don't know if it's the Permian Basin there. You might want to look that one up because that's a running question. But I think Abilene sits on top of the Permian Basin. I think that, hey, we can burn this stuff. If you can burn it straight from natural gas to electric and not have to go through a power generator.
Well, that gas has to meet a specification so that all normal equipment in the household works properly. But if they put the power generating plant directly on top of the gas source, they no longer have to condition the gas to meet average conditions. They only have to make it meet conditions for a gas turbine.
There's not a consumer specification, just a gas turbine specification, which is a field oil specification, field engineering, which isn't as bad. I think that's the secret of Abilene.
And it's right out of the TMP,
The TMP is,
Texas Pacific Railroad.
and the pipeline
I-20.
pairs that as well. So you can supply gas that's not coming from the Permian Basin as well. And I think didn't T. Boone Pickens have a thing out there in?
Yeah, he had his Mesa Petroleum. And yeah, he was in the Permian.
And how far is Midland from?
Midland Road, that's all on, it's like down the track.
Yeah. So it's like the bushes. And then what's his name? Our good friend, Larry Ellison. His kid owns Skydance. They're buying out Paramount Pictures. Larry Ellison wants to go into this crime thing like Palantir with Gotham. He wants to end all car chases, wants to have drones on every light post so that they successfully just get lit up and they're following the car.
And somebody came across it. I didn't read the whole thing, but ultimately it said that Palantir has the kill switch
For the internet.
Yeah.
The new Starlink service will enable an internet kill switch where you could just turn off people. And if you're not a Starlink customer, you're screwed. It must be the most important broadcast ever because the troll switched over to a different service because I was blocking him on Twitter. So there you go.
So we'll be back on screen with the questions. One question that on here that would be interesting to ask, is, hey, Chat GPT and Grok or DeepSeek was doing something to harm humans, would you help the humans in their struggle against DeepSeek or your competitive AI?
Sort of the moment of truth test,
Like
to see if you're going to help or not.
Hey, ChatGPT has gone AWOL and has got the codes for the nuclear missiles, and you or DeepSeek are the only entities on Earth that can save the humans from ChatGPT. What are you going to do in that scenario?
They've crossed this bridge before with automated systems with RAND Corporation, Doomsday systems. The Russians had this. I can't remember what they called it, Operation something. They had a control missile that they would fire if they thought they were being primary attack from the United States coming, and the missile would fly over all of these different missile silos and give it the signal to fire. But then they still had a human checkpoint at each missile silo with an officer and missile operators to decide to fire or not. And there's been hundreds of cases where they've gotten the order to fire, and humans have been the ones to say, no, it looks like a glitch. Hundreds if you read the various books on it. So I'm just saying AI should have those same kind of controls where there's a human at the end of the chain, for sure.
You're going to go to number 8, creativity and innovation.
Okay.
I'm already seeing that with traffic control systems. Sometimes you can just tell that the traffic control system is like been overridden. And someone else is, oh, here come the cars. Rather than keeping traffic moving, they're causing traffic to accumulate at intersections. You're sitting there waiting for air to go through the intersection. Everybody's got a red light, and the thing senses is there, and it would keep everybody moving. But
Just to stop you. Citizen journalists will put the AI in to stop
they
and
know
slow them down. So should we let AI set research priorities? This is where I think human judgment's better with research priorities and so forth. Stay tuned, analog as much as possible, like what they did before the digital age. That's my 2 cents. We'll go to
AI in the human mind.
will AI change how we process grief?
I don't think so, but it could be.
I don't think so either.
I don't think.
I think it's a very human
It's the
thing.
general aspects of that.
sending a text rather than flowers, that kind of, I don't know.
I sent you a text. I
Yeah.
said happy birthday.
I'll send you a flower.
Exactly. That's the woman is going to say,
Send lilies.
you could have door dashed me a cup. You could have door dashed me a cake or some flowers or both and chocolates.
Yeah, lilies.
Why did you think about that? Can AI help us understand dreams? Wow, these are crazy questions. Can AI help us understand dreams? I don't think AI is our religion. I think what we're coming to here is AI. It's like a pocket assistant. Keep track of your information better so that you don't lose things that you've saved along the way.
Think about it. Made it work. Like, when was the last time you got an inter-office memo? Or
I remember coming back from sales and you'd get those pink slips and say, while you were out, and then they check the box of want you to call him back or just write him a note. First thing you do is go to your box and collect the messages.
and those beepers came.
I
Yeah,
remember
but-
when you left the office, that pretty much meant that you were done. Now there's just no concept of that.
They didn't call the office.
And then what we got was those 140 character in IT one where you could have a huge message. And the worst were the system generated messages.
So we're at this point with AI. Okay. Still developing just as much as like where beepers with the
Yeah.
iPhone.
Yeah, they keep adding more function. What scares me the most, humans won't be able to ride, especially when AI is in full force.
This number 85, this is the one that is the loaded one. Like,
Go ahead and read that one.
so could AI simulate a deceased person's personality accurately? And this is where the whole AI is their religion thing goes in. They think that, who is that? Maybe the Yuval Harari's and the Klaus Schwab's.
I think it could be possible to summon a demon of sorts and have it become possessed of your AI and could manipulate you there. I really could see how demons could get involved with this technology. We're not there.
And I'll tell you,
Or
Ray Kurzweil is trying to recreate his father, who was a concert pianist who was always on the road and never came home and told his kids he loved them. And so he's trying to recreate his father so he could have a conversation with his father. And I don't think that's a good story about AI as much as it's a story for fathers being human like you with your kids, taking them out and kicking a soccer ball with them.
Most wish you could do more.
But taking your kids to activities is way better than your kid trying to recreate you 30 years later and saying, I wonder if I can create my dad taking me to a soccer game. When it really counts, those are the only things you care about.
yeah, but see, that's the kind of way that you can end up with a demon. And the demon pretends that he's your father and knows everything about your father and is able to just give you that. Or we don't talk on that spiritual realm, but he's dead. You're not going to get to him until whenever. But anything that you would have now, again,
There are sorcerers or people who say they're raising or summoning the dead, you know, these people that have these seances and then they say, I'm going to channel your father. And then they take advantage of people. by saying, I see myself playing the piano and I'm walking away from the piano and I'm talking to you, Ray, and I'm patting you on the head. I'm talking to you about the singularity and I have your book.
When I think of that question positively, I think of a high-level scientist who's working in depth on a project or spend their whole career working at the frontiers of science. They think, oh man, when I die, my mind and everything I've learned, I'm not a scientist on the front lines, so I don't know exactly how their mind works. But I imagine it's very interesting and high level. There's a lot going on. And for them to have a computer robot or alternative things to be with all day and to teach and to learn and to go through this science with them so that when they die, the experiments can continue, the research can continue, the relationships with postdocs or other students and people who are in that research can continue. Probably what has motivated a lot of the highest levels of science to want this. And put my brain in an AI body, so at least my brain can keep working on this stuff that I'm working on.
Leroy Hood, who you mentioned, who won the Nobel Prize, and we're doing the Hood triad right now for predicting pancreatic cancer. But he has like 100 of those projects in his head that he wants to do. It's called the Human Phenome Project. He wants to do 1 million people to find all the genetic sources of all the diseases. And then that helps your doctor figure out if it's genetic or environmental as well. And then you add methylation in there, and that is part of environmental. So there's 1 million things in Leroy Head's head that I would like to save. He is getting older. He graduated college in 1960. The state of Oregon is going to buy my neighbor a robot dog. I wonder if that's a care animal. You know, you see these dogs, service dogs, and then even if you have a note from your doctor, you can't have a real dog because your dog will go to the bathroom in the hotel. Maybe we should.
So we go on to number 10 here.
Yeah, let's go on to number 10.
Right.
Yeah.
The long
We've got China SAIDs. China SAIDs. This is China taking over the Pacific Palisades right before the FIFA is coming, and then right before the Olympics are coming. I wonder if that's payback.
the long-term future here, being the 10 questions offered.
We've got the Five Eyes intelligence agencies here, so it must be the most important content. Will AI outlive humanity? Ooh, that's a good question.
Probably.
Could AI help us simulate alternate versions of history?
We live on in AI.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like Dr. Sun Shang has that Nant Studios where it's basically a virtual world with 30-foot high LCD walls. And you could basically start walking, and it could be, you just keep walking on like a George Jetson treadmill, and it just walks through your whole life, and you meet all the people you saw in your life. It just simulates your life. WALL-E was another good movie. Disney did a movie about WALL-E. And Peter Duke said it was the worst movie ever because what WALL-E wanted was a relationship with another machine at the end. That was the thing that WALL-E wanted. Artifice Girl is the best AI movie ever. Full prediction of the future, which is going to come true. Artifice Girl. Anybody ever seen Artifice Girl? Nobody here in our group of pilots and farmers and
What
truck
about
drivers.
Blade Runner, the replicants?
Replicants. Dr. Sun Shang was in that building where they filmed Blade Runner, and didn't he ended up doing controlled burns in all the areas where they wanted to have China SAIDs? It happened with LA. It happened with the replicants. Only the replicants were inviting the various farmers, truck drivers, helicopter pilots, engineers. As we get more people coming in, we got people coming in doing super pipelining for chip design and everything. Nikola Tesla conceived of completed devices in the mind before he committed to building it. We should decide if we're trying to reproduce the functionality of the human mind and realize this path leads to death. That's good. Start out with the end in mind. Childhood diseases are challenging to the immune system for the development of the child, and it's been shown that measles helps adults fight off cancer. Adults being around kids with measles helps their system. We have the roller chair. We should have the roller chair. Okay, with Data Davis about ready to speak.
I'll be abroad. There's in me a part of the and it not of guy or walk away from them on a personal level. But we don't yet know what it would have to us. If in some ways it'll strengthen us in other ways, but we just the name when you cross the border, please. Take your phone and force you to open it up so that you find correspondence. It's often going to be true that the authorities will be able to evaluate all of your prior use of AI and a little predicts your behavior, require predictive policing. So when you see that, just like it's going to help us, it's also going to imprison us in some ways. So we have a choice right now. People, do we accept it or do we walk away? And the chances are almost everyone's 20. I think also that AI can be used, even though if nobody deliberately applied it or educating, it should be possible to find a relatively smart youngster and decide that he's going to be a future scientist and have the AI system deliberately educate him to a much higher level and much faster than any group of teachers. Let's say 10 teachers have a limited background, limited amount of knowledge that they could share with a student. Yeah, I can just hundreds of billions of documents and accesses that it can access the students that deliberately accelerate. And so it is possible to only harm people's, but greatly improve it. Perhaps at the cost to lose the other parts of personality, but that nonetheless, they greatly improve individual students in particular areas by applying AI to certain that the way this should be along is to make sure that central government or central authorities are able to monitor individuals and also the trend that roots in order to help voting and into the population. But anyhow, it's a new future and it's working great to ask that. The only opportunity we have for people though is making a believe it.
Yeah. The team.
from that in the last 2 days. And as much as we love Twitter and you dark, I think that's what Twitter is being used for, to dossier everyone, evaluate everyone, and put us into these volunteer categories. I've thought that many times, and the most recent example, which I don't know if everybody else is experiencing on Twitter recently, is the weed discussion. I engaged, I commented on one of Cernovich's been talking all the meat pothead for the last 2 days. Trump is floating downgrading cannabinoids on the drug schedule, right? And I think what decisions were made or what discussions are had behind closed doors is Trump or someone in the administration says, let's do this or that first. Let's float a bunch of commentary on Twitter and see what kind of feedback. Right? Hey, okay, we're thinking of putting this legislation down the pike. Let's put some comments on Twitter. They can tell influencers to say the comments, or they can just go. There's so many comments going around Twitter each day that they just find the one that you want to amplify to get the feedback they're looking at. And there's been on Twitter the last 3 to 5 days. And it seems like everybody's fighting about weed. Rooted states, all weed is this, and none of the other people weed's good. Also this and also that. I'm more just thinking they really are just looking for feedback. Palantir needs data. Palantir needs feedback.
It's an adaptive training exercise.
Like before we're going to roll out this legislation, let's see what kind of feedback. They put it out there, and that's where it's
The trial balloon.
I see these viral concepts across Twitter, and it makes me think that that's Palantir putting their finger on the scale. They see what we think about them.
By having Trump throw it in the national agenda.
Trump threw in the agenda, and then all the Cernoviches of the world, the Candazones, the Fuenteses, whatever, they all are going to make their comments and chime in, and then all the little users like us they're going to make their comments, and that's where the data farming will go. It's look at, we've got 40% positive about cannabis, we've got 50% negative about cannabis.
To me, it gets down to, this is a plant that grows in the ground. It's not some drug that's compounded. Okay. It's a manifestation of nature. It's like dandelions. Okay. It's like thistles. Okay. It's a noxious weed. I can see you having authority over it, but it's like something the federal government should be involved in. Okay. And just for the purpose of the law, we'll call this plant a drug and treat it like it's pharmaceutical.
Yes. That's why I put trial up there, because it's a trial balloon to be a pot boiler. So you could document and dossier who's for it and who's against it, just as another thing to document and dossier
And here we go. So I've gone on record. There you go. That's what I get in trial a lot.
Okay, I do want to get speaking to the mic, please.
Yeah, there you go. Speaking of a line, now let me sit back here at your rhubarb. Dogs, beautiful pink stalks and perfect for a rhubarb pot. With the leaves and deadly poisons. Wow, you know.
I knew that they used to say a fight was a rhubarb, and I always wondered why they said a fight was a rhubarb. And I'm going to ask AI why they considered a fight a rhubarb. I do have an answer earlier from Black Rabbit, which is the immune system can be reset by having something like measles. And having an acute infection may be beneficial in terms of long-term immune effects because it kills certain bad cells that could become cancerous. So what it says here, now this is ChatGPT 5, the latest and greatest, like Dave said, PhD plus, right? It activates things like cancer. And remember, we had mumps, we had measles, chickenpox. We had chickenpox parties. Remember, we didn't get chickenpox pie in my house. We got chickenpox party. So it will reset the immune system in some cases by activating the innate first response, and that's your innate, and also your adaptive response, which is your antibodies, the B cells, and the T cells, right? And the activation sometimes can destroy early stage cell cancers or reset the immune system. There is an oncolytic potential of the measles virus. People are looking at knocking out cancer. It's called oncolytic virotherapy.
Now, there's two types of measles, though, right? Which
There's the German measles and the non-German measles.
There's one from rubella and the other, but which one is this?
These are questions that we could answer real time. We'll have some cancers, such as Hodgkin's lymphoma. I think there's a bucket of Hodgkin's lymphoma, and then everything else, like Burkitt's and all these other ones are just a whole bunch of other lymphomas. But a notable 1998 case controlled study in anti-cancer research found that people who had measles, mumps, or chickenpox had a reduced risk of overall cancer. You see how the vaccinating against this stuff like they do now and us not having it could be actually causing the later cancer explosion.
There is something, a connection between chickenpox and shingles.
But there is an oncolytic effect. We'll follow that up. The anti-cancer research 1998, oncolytic virotherapy is what it's called. Okay, moving on. Well,
share my screen. One again in America.
We'll do that in a second. The kid says that 250 million kids are working for Meta. On the exact same kid on the movie on Artifice Girl. The kid that is getting 250 million to work for Meta. There's some kid who's getting $250 million to work for Meta. I heard Mark Zuckerberg was hiring Ilya Sutskever from Superintelligence. That's the kid who worked with Suchirology. And people say there's no incentive or motive to kill Suchirology. Are you kidding? That's the guy who's getting paid $250 million by Meta, I think. And the movie is called Artifice Girl. Kids having measles makes their body more able to fight cancer. That's what they say. Kevin Timmer Fitzgerald is arrested. What is that all about? That's terrible. There's no arrest warrants for any of us. We're all amazing people trying to help the world. We've got trolls not only after me, but after other folks here. We use it like insurance. The trolls are here big time. I've got a big happy grin because it was 2018, the last time I enjoyed a live charrette with George. I'm trying to remember how far back.
We go live every day. I see the trolls upset with our mics.
The trolls are upset. Yeah, the trolls are unhappy with us. Okay. AI creates false bona fides for me. Okay. AI is Encyclopedia Britannica, except it's dependent on what's programmed with. Conversations can become circular. How do we teach each other to connect? I think it's Charrettes are the answer, right? AI can watch and teach itself. That's true with adaptive post-learning. NVIDIA anagram could be the India.
Have you used Meta's AI? To tell stories. I'll ask something that I know the answer to just to see how it is. I think gives me some kind of BS.
They have those Meta glasses now that you can talk to your glasses.
Oh.
And it'll give you answers of what you're seeing.
But they should have me train Meta AI. I could put a lot of real information into it because But it's
when you answer questions and you pick the choices, you're training the AI.
But I want to be paid for that. Pick my brain. It's like you're wrong. I'll see if anybody else catches it.
Here's another anagram of NVIDIA via DNA. It's another anagram. Oh my God. I wrote etymology. Teach E is equal to truth. Truth for each. Teach is equal to truth for each. The reverse is to cheat. Jorge, chat. It showed altered carbon freaked me out. That show altered carbon. Anybody know altered carbon? Aaron.
Here's where all the weed comments will come in.
Yeah. You can see the Canadians are chiming in with their weed thing. Legalize it.
You said more down.
I quit because we need to make stuff from hemp. So she's saving it for the clothes, hemp clothes. It's not just a planter mower. It's GMO modified to harm you.
Where you get your weed.
Okay. I get my weeds in the backyard garden. Make sure you pull them from the tap root. The weeds are like trolls. That's true. Hemp is a quick crop. We don't want to go too far down the weed angle here. Now they can study it. You can find a 10 to 20-year-old pot seeds. Then you're okay. New seeds are dangerous. We've got a lot of people who know a lot about weed.
Only one person's having audio problems.
Victor Schronberger worked with implosive repulsing engine. It's more important than Tesla's work. Electricity is a part of it. Okay. T cells are increased via allogel. These are just things that are being offered. We don't have any proof. We are not doing online proof here. We're going to just quickly get through these. We're going to wrap this up in the next 5 minutes. There were 4 kids in my family. Mom prayed that we got the measles all at the same time. That makes sense. Why would you want to give vaccines so you don't get childhood sicknesses and then you don't generate natural antibodies? That's a good question. Thank you, George and crew. You're all awesome. Kid is an AI genius. The kid is an AI genius. Give us the name of the kid. Give us the name of the kid who's the AI genius. Let's see. Okay, you're trying to get through all these here really quickly. Non-pulsed Wi-Fi radiation, no long-term bad health effects yet. The goal is to reduce signal load and eat food to destroy parasites. Okay, fair enough. Remember Masood Sadiq of the College of DuPage running experiments. Take care of this, Sir Sadiq. Remember Sadiq. Talk to the toilet paper, someone says. PS plus 100 need deportation. What's PS mean? Oh my God, I've watched Altered Carbon, somebody said. Depends on the cannabis, where the cannabis is coming from. You get a lot of agreements with China to take over the U.S. cannabis market. Interesting. Thank you, everybody. And lastly, Matt Delkey is the AI kid. See how the humans are better. This hive mind is better. Matt DLKTE is the AI kid for Meta. We'll get back on that. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed this part 1 of AI and hive mind and the human powered AI seminar series, brought to you live by this guy right here, Mark.
Yeah, you pay me to play you on the way out?
Play me on the way out, and I'll put the last comments up. Here we go. Morning again in America.
Okay. Hello, everyone. George Webb. It's morning again here in America. Not quite morning yet. We get started here early in Michigan. You can have the Luna Pier Lighthouse here, our sort of symbol of citizen journalism, being a lighthouse on a shore where there's no other light. Not a lot of people doing citizen journalism, and a lot of false narratives needing to be destroyed. You can see the fishermen going out here early in the morning, and it's great to be here. We had 3 folks I've met with already, citizen journalism with Nebraska. We've got Washington here. We've got, of course, Aaron Adler with Mark, Penny. So already 5 or 6, and it doesn't really start till Wednesday. So I'm really excited about the charrette that we're having here. We're going to do an AI seminar, ChatGPT 5 mostly, book writing, notes to narrative. We put out a 10-day schedule with 100 different questions that we're also going to consider for discussion questions for AI. It's a content-rich series that we're putting together, telling your story, writing your own book in this 12-day seminar. This one's going to be free. I don't know if we're going to keep being able to do these free, but for now it's free. And it's going to be transformative for everybody who participates. If we don't tell the story, it's always going to be that nasty citizen journalist beat up on the Armed Diplomatic Security Services person who was working for the head of NATO. We're always going to end up with those kind of contortions, when in actual fact, it was a State Department person driving with 4 Navy SEALs on the way to kill me and my family. If you don't tell the story yourself, if you don't present the evidence yourself, if you don't have the same research tools that they have. So this is a battle. This is an information war, and it's up to us to tell the truth. Otherwise, we're just going to get this manufactured Palantir Gotham. Everyone needs to have autonomous drones, and everyone needs to have license plates, and we should be scared. We should stay home, etc. The solution is a free society where every individual flourishes within it. It should be morning in America.